going. Gotta catch those runners taking off like a Boeing. If the volume spikes, then it's time to trade. Mighty 90 setting up, it's time to get paid. Dr. Chad on the mic, time to get focused. We don't need any indicator hocus pocus. It's all about the price, just watch it move. Manage your risks so you don't lose. First hour of trading is all we need. Focus on the patience and forget about greed.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's day trading live stream. Make sure I got the right microphone. Yeah, should be good. You guys should be able to hear me okay. I am coming at you from the home office again, so not at my normal battle station, but I think we're good to go. All right, so today is Tuesday. We are on the 3 DTE options. We've got Tesla and Meta are kind of the strongest on the big board. Amazon is also above yesterday's high. Apple was. It's coming down a little bit. Coinbase just pushing into green territory. Google starting to push up above its pre-market highs as well. We've got the S&P futures up 15, NASDAQ up 48, Russell down 2, Dow up 87. So the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow all up about the same, all up about 0.25%. Gold is up about almost 0.5%. Silver's up 2%. Notes and bonds are a little bit red. 10-year yield up 0.25%. Oil's up about 0.5%. So is natural gas. All the grains, all the grains are a little bit red. Euro and the pound a little bit green. And Bitcoin was down a couple percent. It's down less than 1% now. A little over 87,000. About a 2% contraction in the VIX. At the freeze, it was at 17.1. So a couple things here. I've got a couple of calendars. My 1-2, 1-3, 1-4 that will close within the first 15 minutes. And then I'm going to let my Rick fire. It'll have a pretty small upside profit. We have a, let's see, what was it? It was about a 30-point expected move in SPX, I think. Yeah, it's at 29. So typically going to have a pretty small upside profit. So I will most likely close early, but we'll see what happens. Every once in a while, you get that quick move out of the gate and can hit a profit target to the downside. Not expecting that, but I will let it fire. And we've got about 1 minute and 20 seconds until the bell. Apple coming down to unchanged now. Amazon rolling over. Getting a little pre-market weakness going into the bell. Amazon coming down to yesterday's high. By the way, I don't have as many monitors here currently today, so if you guys see something in another stock that's not on my big board here, feel free to post in the chat. Coinbase going red. Bitcoin making a little push up, trying to get close to going green. There's the opening bell. All right, so SPX, yeah, about 29 points is the expected move. opening right at yesterday's high in SPX. Amazon bounced off of unchanged, back up to highs of day. That was a quick bounce. Tesla coming down. Coinbase still coming down. All right, my Rick just fired, filled at 1480. Let me get that posted. And let me double check that. Yeah, so my upside profit's about 30% of my max risk. So get a quick move. Great. If not, I'll close that early. Tesla all the way back down to unchanged after had one of the bigger gap ups of the big boys. Meta is holding a little bit stronger. Apple chopping around unchanged. Google staying a little bit stronger. Coinbase trying to pop back up to go green. Nvidia coming down. Microsoft coming down. As I mentioned, trading the 3-day options today. Google is holding right around its pre-market highs. Everything else is kind of dipping. Coinbase popped back up. See what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin's only down 0.5% now. Bitcoin bouncing off unchanged, trying to go green. MSTR, same, kind of the same, similar as Coinbase. DJT is up 12%. Donnie Boy getting a little bump today. Oh, did it have earnings? 325 aftermarket. Okay, so DJT has earnings after the bell today. CrowdStrike is up almost 5%. Big push. Big push at the open. SMCI is up 2%. Big push up to yesterday's high. Okay, so Meta was holding strong. Now it's dipping. Coinbase back in the red. Google appears to be holding up the best. Amazon's staying green as well after a little quick dip down to unchanged. Tesla going into the red. Apple back in the green. I don't know what. I have my toolbar set to disappear. I'm not sure why it's staying up on the bottom here. Covering up a little bit of the volume on these bottom ones, but okay, Apple back above yesterday's high, back above pre-market highs. Google kind of wicking above its pre-market highs. Can't hold. Meta down to yesterday's high. Microsoft went red for a brief moment, but back up to near pre-market highs. Nvidia flushed its pre-market lows. Let me know if you guys see any volume bars growing on some of the other stocks. On the big board, Meta is really the highest, but it's not going to get there. Semiconductors and retail are a little bit red. Metals and energy, regional banks, financials are green as far as the different sectors go. Russell is still red. The other indices, both all just a little bit green. All right, not seeing any volume bars. Apple and Amazon above their pre-market highs. Meta holding above yesterday's high. Apple's looking like it's wanting to stay strong. Microsoft pushing above its pre-market high. Meta trying to bounce. Apple extending higher. Apple's up 0.75% now. Tesla staying weak. Is that all Tesla had the last couple days? Is it done? Was that the Tesla bounce we get these days? Coinbase pushed into the green and hasn't been back yet. Heading back down towards lows of day. Tesla's heading down to pre-market lows. Microsoft couldn't hold its pre-market high. Neither could Amazon. Now Apple coming down as well. S&P and NASDAQ approaching unchanged on the day. Coin's getting a little higher volume on this push down. I would want to see it push through pre-market lows if I'm going to take a mighty 90. Apple still holding above pre-market highs, above yesterday's high. A quick little reversal off the top, though. Microsoft trying to hold up. Bitcoin back down about 1.25% on the day now. Did not go green. Yeah, Baidu's up. Baba also just went green. Amazon back up to highs a day. Tesla still coming down. Qualcomm is green. Snow, haven't traded that one in a while. Snow had an initial push. It's chopping right below yesterday's high. See if the NASDAQ and the S&P can stay green here. With the indices coming down since the open, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, really Amazon and Apple kind of holding up the best, but they're also a little wicky at the top here. SMCI was strong, but now it's coming down. CrowdStrike's holding up pretty well. And Baidu. So Coinbase flushed pre-market lows. Nvidia coming down hard now. NASDAQ went red, Dow went red, S&P is right at unchanged. If the indices can find some footing, let's see if S&P can uses the unchanged mark as any kind of support here. Looking at Apple for a potential upside runner, being the strongest. Apple, I'd be trading the 222 half calls. Coinbase flushed the pre-market lows after it had that little volume pop, took an extra bar, but it's starting to bounce. Apple staying strong. Hoping to get an entry a little bit closer to yesterday's high or the pre-market high, but S&P starting to bounce and Apple's really bouncing. May take off without me. Amazon's holding above its pre-market high. I'm going to take a long in Amazon here. 205 calls. 205 calls. Filled at 245. Using the pre-market high as my line in the sand. Are basically below the low of this current bar. Apple and Amazon both held up really well during that flush. So if we can get a bounce in the market, could see these ones push through highs of day. Meta starting to pop. Nice bounce out of Coinbase. Bitcoin's still down 1%. Isn't it crazy how the market can be so strong when Bitcoin is strong these days? It is like the risk on barometer. Watson, yeah, I've traded shares plenty. But yeah, I much prefer options. I mean, yeah, we do get some decay, especially if, like if I'm in an upside runner and it just continues to chop and I stay in, definitely going to see some decay, but I still prefer options over just buying shares. I didn't give up on it. It had already pushed up, so I like the risk reward a little bit better on Amazon because it was a little bit closer to my line in the sand. I thought about going in smaller on Apple and then adding if it came back down, but I just decided to go with Amazon. Meta pushing through highs of day. I'll put my first profit target in Amazon at 270. Goog starting to bounce. S&P starting to bounce. Coinbase starting to bounce. Tesla staying weak. Nvidia popped back up above yesterday's low. Apple through highs of day. Amazon approaching highs of day. S&P and NASDAQ back in the green. See if Amazon can pop through here. No, I'm on a 5-minute chart. It's an upside runner. I'm using the pre-market. Amazon just hit first profit target filled at 270 to close half. Upside continuation runner. Using the pre-market high as my line in the sand. Yep. Yeah, plus I was looking at the daily chart too. And both Apple and Amazon look really good. I mean, well, really a lot of stocks look good today after yesterday's move, but just how it price action on the daily chart just looks very bullish here. So looking at these stocks and how they held on that flush. I mean, the S&P had a pretty decent little flush from the open. That last 5-minute bar was the first green one, and both Apple and Amazon held up really well. So either of those, I think, would have been good choices from a relative strength perspective. I just like I said, I liked my entry on Amazon better. Apple is kind of already up away from its pre-market highs and yesterday's high. So I would have had to reduce position size or wait for a pullback, which didn't happen. Amazon made another little push, but now reversing. Same with Apple. Same with the S&P back down to lows. NASDAQ holding up a little bit better. Still at yesterday's high. Coinbase still popping. S&P back down near lows. Going to take another stab at going red. Now Amazon is not holding up as well, but still holding well above pre-market highs. Tesla had a little bounce back down. See on that reversal in the S&P, I would have liked to see Amazon hold up a little bit better than that. But you don't always get what you want. I've found out. I don't know why that is. All right, Amazon right here at pre-market highs. So I want to see it hold here. Apple is definitely holding up better. S&P staying green. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's a little bit red. Ugh, that's an ugly bar. See what this. I'll give this. I'll give it till this bar closes. A couple minutes here. See if it wants to hold. Now Apple's coming down as well. S&P kind of chopping just under unchanged. Well, that's ugly. All right, I'm gonna get out. Filled at 201. So I ended up taking a $95 loss net on that one. That is an ugly bar. Was there? I didn't see anything on the calendar that I remembered. Today is Tuesday. Oh, consumer confidence and new home sales. Yeah, there was. Not that I would have done anything differently based on that, but Microsoft's dip is getting bought up fairly quickly. S&P and NASDAQ staying green. Apple definitely acting stronger now relative to Amazon. Goog is popping back up. Nice little bounce. Coinbase trying to get back into positive territory. Bitcoin Still down a little less than 1%. Apple almost back up to highs. Baidu still chopping it near highs. Ooh, Netflix got strong during that flush. Netflix looks nice. Google pushing up towards highs. Indices just kind of chopping. Staying green, trying to stay green. I mean, a lot of these a lot of these stocks are pretty choppy. I mean, Apple's the only one that's kind of extended a little bit. Tesla to the downside. Google's now acting the strongest. Yeah, I mean, even in real time, it was, as I was talking about, it was stronger. But the whole, for me, the setup is secondary. My line in the sand to manage risk around is primary. So I just had a better way to manage risk for the way that I do it in Amazon. But yeah, for sure. Oh shoot. I don't have my Tradier open, so I didn't hear my notifications. So I forgot to post my closing calendar trades. I apologize. I'm just not at my normal station this week. So let's see. Yeah, so my 1, 4, 1, 2, 1, 3 all closed. But yeah, I'm still holding my 3, 4 and my 2, 3. So Goog holding above its pre-market high. All right, I'm getting long Goog on the pre-market high here. 172 half calls. 172 half calls in Goog. Filled at $1.47. So that 171 half is kind of my line in the sand, that pre-market high. See if this market can rip. Both NASDAQ and S&P came down, tested, going negative, bouncing pretty good now. Let's see if Google's acting. Google and Apple. I mean, Apple's another choice. I always trade Goog, no L. They're both about the same liquidity, so whichever one you prefer, but I just always do Goog. I'll put my first profit target at $1.65. Can make another leg up, should hit it. Microsoft back up, approaching highs of day. Apple just ticked through highs. Tesla starting to bounce. Everybody up. Everybody get up. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're looking at in QCOM. It's just chop. Snow's kind of in consolidation after the first push right below highs. So you could use the low of that consolidation area as kind of your line in the sand on snow if you wanted to. Microsoft tick through highs of day. Tesla getting a little bouncy. Microsoft, nice push. Come on, Goog. Pop. Pop, pop. NASDAQ approaching its pre-market highs here. Acting stronger than the S&P, and Dow is just unchanged. Russell's still down almost 0.5%. Microsoft now pushing. So I need Goog to do. Goog pausing near highs of day. My thought, looking at the daily chart on the S&P and NASDAQ, my thought was we could possibly retrace back down to the top of that consolidation area we saw last week before a continuation higher. But S&P and NASDAQ just basically came down and tested unchanged and popped back up. So could signify a little bit more strength. Meta back above its pre-market high. Actually, technically not yet. Nvidia and Tesla still a little bit weaker. Coinbase still not back up to green territory yet. SMH is still red. SMH is still down 0.5%. AVGO is red. Oh wow, MU is really weak, pushing through lows. MU's down almost 3%. PLTR is red. MSTR is chopping just below unchanged. Some of the banks, similar to the indices, came down and tested unchanged, bounced. Goldman, Bank of America, both did. Google and Apple still chopping just below lows, or just below highs of day. Baidu kind of rolled over, getting hold within that little consolidation. Netflix is still chopping, kind of similar to Google or Apple. Oh, sorry, Dark Avenger. By the way, when you edit your comments, a lot of times I don't even see it. So if you add something, I would just add it as a new comment. That way I see it. The 172 half calls in Google, I paid $1.47. Microsoft trying to pop back up a little bit. Apple ticked back up through highs of day. Pretty slow moving this morning. S&P starting to pop. Coinbase still creeping up. Trying to get back that original flush. Now the S&P is moving a little stronger. NASDAQ is pausing a little bit more on this current bar. Amazon back above pre-market highs. Need the NASDAQ to rip through pre-market highs, bring all its tech bros with it. Specifically Google. Microsoft, a little pullback. Got my son's first freshman baseball game today. First high school baseball game. Straight from Power Hour. Got to head over. I know how you guys love hearing about my kids' sports, so figured I'd keep you posted. All right, come on, Goog. Microsoft, a little dip. Goog's getting a little dip. Apple's still holding up the best here. Tesla's acting like it wants to get back in the game. All right, Goog's a little dip getting bought up pretty good. NASDAQ back up, trying to pop through pre-market highs. All right, Goog, let's see it explode. We need a Goog explosion. That Microsoft dip got bought up pretty quick as well. All right, NASDAQ pushed through pre-market highs. Meta's starting to pop. Goog just is not pushing through. Data list says the bubble wall is holding us back. Let's break it. What do we need? Some dynamite? Red Rover, Red Rover. Break it down. S&P up 15, NASDAQ's up 79. Both up about 1/3%. NASDAQ a little bit stronger. Russell still down about 1/3%. Dow is green. Coinbase trying to go green. Bitcoin is still down about 0.7%. Pretty choppy. XLK, the technology sector, is up about 1/4%, but SMH is kind of holding things back as well, down 0.4. Now Apple's dipping. Coinbase going green, back to unchanged. Microsoft, pretty good pullback here. Nvidia dipping. All right, Coinbase is popping. MSTR broke out, but Bitcoin's not really doing much. Ooh, Netflix broke out. All right. Bring some of your buddies with you at Netflix. Meta's still at highs of day. Pretty choppy.
You still streaming?
Mm-hmm. I'll be done here shortly. All right, Bitcoin's starting to approach highs of day now. About to go green. All right, let's see if Goog can do it this time. Meta's pushing. Apple is rolling over now. Coinbase approaching highs of day. There we go. Let's get Bitcoin ripping. Let everybody know the water's warm. To the upside. NASDAQ back above pre-market highs. Tesla back up to unchanged. Amazon creeping back up. Yeah, so Watson, to your point earlier, I mean, obviously seeing a little bit of decay here in these Google options. And I just know that because my estimated profit target line keeps creeping a little bit higher the longer I sit here. All right, Google through highs. Still got my profit target in Google at $1.65. It's getting close. One more little pop. We'll hit it. It's at $1.61. The Goog wall got broken. Need a little bit more break to hit my profit target. Just a few more cents. Meta looking good. Tesla trying to go green. Apple not participating in this bounce. There we go, Goog. It's getting close. Hit it. Hit it. There we go. $1.65. Sorry, Mr. Gorbachev, your wall is gone. All right, let's keep the party going. I still got half my Goog. I'll close another quarter at, well, I'll put it at $1.80 for now. Probably adjust that down if it starts getting a little bit slow again. See if this thing wants to really get going. Amazon popping back up. Moel, did you hold against the rules? Moel's not speaking to us now because he broke his rules. S&P approaching pre-market highs. Coinbase ripping. Tesla in the green above yesterday's high. Meta looking strong. Goog looking strong. I'd like to see one more leg up in Goog. Then we'll wrap things up here. Bitcoin's still not green. But coin and MSTR sure are. Amazon approaching highs of day. Wow, MSTR is ripping, says coin. Wow. The cryptos are rocking. Let's see what Hood is doing. Hood just went green, but Still well below highs of day. All right, Goog. Goog trying to make another run. MU barely bounced. NVIDIA bounced about half of its losses back from the open. Amazon pushing through highs. Meta still pushing. Goog still at highs. Yeah, I'm on toss. I don't like I use Tradier for my calendars because it's automated, but I don't like day trading on the TradeHawk platform. The Tradier Pro, as they call it now. Microsoft starting to pop. I used to day trade on Orion, which is connected to Tradier, but Orion is basically out of business. All right, Goog, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. My order's at 180. It's currently up to $100.75. Another little push up. Man, coin still ripping. Meta strong as well. See if Goog can make one more push up. I'm going to bring that order down to $1.75 to get out of another quarter. Shed some more Goog. It's at $1.73, $1.74. $1.74. There we go. All right, I got a quarter left. Nice breakthrough highs on Amazon. Nice strong breakthrough highs. Meta looking really strong. Goog looking strong. Coinbase looking parabolic. MSTR straight up. Tesla pulling back a little bit, back to unchanged. S&P up 1/3%, Nasdaq's up a half. Russell still red. Which is interesting because KRE, which is regional banks, which makes up a lot of the Russell, is green by a little bit, not too much. SMH improving, but still red. All right, we may see a pause pullback here. I'm going to go ahead and bounce on the rest of my goog for now. Filled at $1.76. So I am out of goog. All right, all. We'll wrap up the live stream here. Man, Coinbase still looking strong with volume. I may get into another position here. If I see an opportunity, but I'm going to go ahead and reset, book it for now in the live stream, and I will post in the chat kind of my final here. Let's see, made 465 on Goog and minus 95 on Amazon. So a little bit green for now. All right, all. Have a good day, and we will see you in Power Hour. Take care.